look at some more sporting competition stuff today. Our main focus for today will be based around tactics and strategies. So the first few weeks we've been working on obviously skill development. We had a couple of sessions on conditioning as well at the start. And now this is the part I love the most, getting into the tactics and all the structures and things like that as well. So just give you a bit of a verbal explanation of what we're going to go through today. So firstly, we'll look at tactics, strategies and decision-making skills that participants need to improve as they advance in their sport. For intermediate level participants, they should begin to understand not just how to execute skills, but also when and why to use them. So I'm pretty big on when I coach playing the role, playing for structures, not moving outside of that. I believe in adding flair, adding your natural flair and your natural instincts in that, but in and around the structures and how you want the team to play. So I feel like the best teams I've come up against in my time in footy have been so well structured that it feels like they've almost got an extra 10 players out in the field just because they play their roles. They don't try and do too much, which is what sometimes you feel like you have to do, especially at times where things aren't going right. Teammates tend to take it upon themselves to do more, and then it breaks down even more, and then you get that disconnection between your teammates and stuff as well. So some of the things, areas we need to focus on when we're thinking about tactics and structures are spatial awareness. So that's a big one, just knowing what's going on around you, making sure that all your teammates are set up around you as well, around contest. If it's a midfield, ball up or something like that, making sure that you don't have 3 or 4 of your players in at the football and no one on the outside, and then the opposition team just flip the ball on the outside and you get done on the outside. So players need to know where they are on the field or court in relation to their teammates and opponents and the ball. It's so important. Spatial awareness is the biggest one. Being a junior coach, that I find most of my players struggle with. And we practice it through repetition at training, and I feel like sometimes they take it out to the game day and it's just all goes out the window. They execute it so well at training, but sometimes, whether it's just mental engagement, they're not fully engaged in what they need to do, but that's super important. Teamwork and communication. So spatial awareness comes off the back of teamwork and communication as well. So you'll find a lot of these things that are linked together. So understanding their role within the team, for an example, knowing when to create space and when to pass off the football, or when to move into the space that's been created for you. So communication is key to that as well. So Bookie, if you're leading, if you're going to be the leader, I'm communicating with you. I'm going to block your player. We've identified that's the space you're going to go into. So we've communicated. You know what's happening. I know what's happening. And then when it rolls out, everyone's on the same page, and then you might get an even mark inside 50. So making sure that your teamwork and communication's there. I'm always big on being predictable to your teammates as well. So if you have a certain structure or a certain way you want to move the football on game day, and you're predictable, we know that if we're coming in this side, that we know if the ball's coming in this side and we win it back, we're going straight out the other side, and that we're going to move the ball to the open side of the ground, and everyone's on that same page. They have starting positions, and they know that we're all going to shift across and be options on the other side of the ground. Decision making and reading the game. Another huge one, okay? Making the right decisions at the right time. Intermediate participants should learn how to read a game situation. Example, in basketball, knowing when to pass, shoot or dribble the ball based on positioning of teammates and opponents. So, if you're supposed to be dribbling the ball in basketball and all your teammates have set up around the 3-point line or outside of the key to allow you to dribble through and lay up the basketball, that's what you want to do. You don't want them to open up that and then you pass it off, because then you're not on the same page either. So making the right decisions at the right time, making sure everyone else is all over your game plan and what you want to do, how you want to move the ball. Positioning and awareness of opponents. So understanding where to position themselves in relation to the ball, teammates and opponents. Okay, so let's have a look at an example for your defensive coaches. Alright, so if the ball's coming down one wing, alright, and you're standing on the boundary side of your opponent, okay, and the ball gets switched back into the middle and moves to your boundary side, that they've got the whole open side of the ground to push you off and leave into space. So that's when your positioning becomes important, and that's something I'll always try to do because I'm a defender. I'll try to take corridor side every single time. So I'll walk down to my opponent, and if the ball's coming down to the flank, I'll just come around the other side of him and I'll stand corridor side, because I prefer them leading out to the boundary and having a shot on the boundary, and rather than me giving up corridor and they lead straight in the middle and have a shot directly in front. Okay, so it's just that mental engagement and continuously thinking about what am I doing, where am I positioning myself against my opponent, how am I positioning myself? Do they have a better vertical jump than me? Okay, do I need to play back shoulder, or do I need to play in front so I can at least create a contest and bring it down? Or do I have a better vertical that I can make up ground quickly and get up for a spoil? Okay, so all of these things you're thinking about, and it usually happens for me, it happens in the first 5 minutes of the game. I walk down there, first 5 minutes unroll, I'm trying to figure out my opponent, what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses, where does he like to stand. If I'm standing here, does he come and stand on the other side of me every single time because that's his favourite side, that's his jumping leg? Okay, so do I make him feel uncomfortable when he walks around that side, I then walk back around that side. And we just keep doing that, and then he knows that I know this is his favourite side, and I'm trying to take that away from him straight away. So that's an important part of your positioning and awareness of opponents. So for example, in soccer, positioning yourselves relative to the ball, defenders and attackers. You know, when I coach my youngest daughter Evie, and she's still learning the game, the one instruction I give her as a runner is like, be in line with the contest. In line with the contest all the time, because at that level, under 11s, it's not a whole lot of tactics involved. They're still learning the game, and the main thing in that game is they just hack the footy out of the contest. So I said to Eve, you want to be in line every single time. So if there's a ruck contest and you're playing back, you're in line with the ruckman. If it shifts over this side of the ground and the contest, the stoppage is there, you shift yourself and you're in line every single time. That's how she learns the game when she sits behind the football. Okay, and then if they win the footy, if it gets turned over, their direction is for her to run out to space on the other side, be a switch option. So it's all patterns, running patterns, leading patterns, ball movement patterns that you try to teach. We'll just move to the next bit. Attacking and defensive principles. So attacking, intermediate participants should understand how to create space, okay? When to take defenders and when to pass. Defense, intermediate players should know when to pressure the ball, when to drop back, and how to cover their position without overcommitting. So same as like when we're talking about football, where do you position yourself as a defender? If you have specific structures that your coaches want you to play, okay, for example, the structures I implement with my playing squad is a defensive rectangle, and you literally roll in that shape. Like you move around the ground in a rectangle together at all times. Okay, because you're a unit, okay, if 2 or 3 of them go here, 2 or 3 of them go there, the whole structure breaks down, and then they pick their way through you with ease. So making sure that you're on the same page as defenders, attackers, alright, who's leading, who's blocking, okay, who's coming. And that might be something that when we go out in our prac today, if you're a forward line coach, is that you've allocated, okay, when the ball's coming down here, you're going to be lead up forward, you're going to stay at home in the cage, and you're the comer. Okay, so, and yet you all have purpose then. You don't have 3 people just leading into the same space, all leading trying to get the ball, and it turns into what could have been like an easy lead-up mark to a 3-on-3 contested situation and no one's playing a role and it just pings out and goes straight back down the other end. Okay, so when we get into organising our session plans today and your tactics and structures, I want you to think about these little things. How can I set up the field as a defender's coming out of the lock, so coming out of defence, like what are we trying to achieve on a kick out? Are we trying to open up space inside forward 50 for someone to lead into on the skinny side, and then we're going to flick it and get it out the other side of the ground straight away. So think about these little things when you're when you're setting up your little tactics today. The other one's set plays. Participants should be familiar with set plays or plan strategies for restarting play. So mids, who's go-to, who's sweeper, who's blocker. Okay, so all those things and can change every time. It doesn't have to be the same person. As long as they're going back in, it goes back to communications. They get back there early, okay, and they set up their plans. All right, so we're going to look at pre-competition routines that help participants manage stress, improve focus, and help performance. Things to consider: individual needs. So written individual needs here. So everyone prepares a little bit differently, like when they go into a game. Like what do you need to do to help with your mental clarity when you essentially wake up in the morning, or for me, I get my boys to start thinking about their pre-game routines the night before. Okay, so on a Thursday night end of training, I let them know. As of now, start thinking about your pre-game routine. What are you going to do Friday during the day? Are you making sure you're hydrating? Maybe eat carbohydrates. For young lads, it's not grinding fortnight till 1 o'clock in the morning, okay? Because what's your output going to be like? Okay, you're going to be tired, you're going to be focused. Okay, how do I prepare myself, individual needs, to best put my best effort out on the ground on game day?
Make sure.
Yeah, over here.
Oh wait, I don't know if it's with me.
Yeah, you're right.
Making sure if your game is in the morning, make sure you have a good breakfast, because that gives you energy.
Yeah.
And protein.
Yeah, 100%.
Like that.
Because what kind of effort are you going to put out today?
Especially in the morning.
You might start alright, but by half time, there's no energy being. Where are you drawing your energy from? Like you've had nothing to eat. I'll just here on the table, just hand out one of these. So this is all of my players. They get given this. It's not like whatever individual needs you need in amongst this, but this is just when they rock up to the ground pre-game. These are the time slots, and it goes right the way through to the start of the game and right the way through to the end. So they know.
Is this on game day?
Yeah, this is Saturday morning. What time they need to rock up to the ground. It breaks down things like arrival, put your bag in the change room. So you don't want to be trekking around your bag on your shoulder, taxing yourself for an hour before the game or half an hour before the game. Locate trainer for strapping. Pretty simple. Let's get in individual needs. I need my ankle strap. I've got to locate the trainer straight away. I don't want to go in and get dressed and leave it right to the last minute, and someone else needs to go in for their individual need for a rub down, which is what the trainers like to do. They like to leave that stuff towards the end. So figuring out what you need to do straight up in the morning and being prepared. Get dressed and organised. For the boys, they like to have their music on, and this generation is really big on playing music pre-game. So we create a playlist. Everyone gets 2 songs that goes on the playlist. So individual needs are met. It's not just listening to someone's music that they like. There's a couple of songs for each, and they just cycle through. And then half time of the grade before, so usually under 13s, they go out and they do a dynamic warm up, and then they come back in as a coach to deliver instructions. Then they go back out at half time, they do a specific drill, a couple of specific drills, so an inside 45 hip kick, just to work on angle kicking and things like that as well, goal kicking, hitting leads on the move and things like that. And then they come back in, they go out the back and they continue some ground bowls and air kicking and handballs. They come back in, they get into their groups, they discuss what their tactics are, what their structures are going to look like when they go out there, so they've got mental clarity on what they need to achieve when they take the field. And then pre-game they do a high intensity, so it's a 5v2 handball competitive within a square. So they get there. The aim is to get the heart rates up and pumping, so when they walk out for that first bounce, the heart rate's already sitting at 160. They're not sluggish, they're not sitting at 50, 60 and not ready to rock and roll. Their heart rates are up and they just ready to crack in. And then from there it just keeps going, quarter time, half time, and then at the end of the game. So they all know, they're all given that, and then even though that's set out in like time limits, how many things they need to do and get organised, within that they've got their own little things that they're doing. They might be eating like some snakes, or they might be, they might have their own headphones on and want to listen to their own music. But it's just little things like that. Like they might be doing a phone roll session, like 10 minutes before they're about to run out, might to phone roll. Okay, so individuality is important and it's consistent. Okay, the routines are consistent. It's the same for home games, it's the same for away games. This is the time you arrive. We meet out the oval at quarter time. A little bit of discussion, then we go in and we go through our routines. Timing, everything as you can see. It's got 8:15 to 8:30, and then it's got 8:30 to 8:33, which is like quarter time breaks. Everyone knows what you're doing. And then motivational rituals. There's one that boys love, and it's like it's a 2-minute motivational, and it's about being the lion and not being the gazelle. So you're the king of the jungle. You're not the one that's being hunted. You're the one out there hunting. And they love it. They want me to play it all the time, but I just, I don't want to get sick of it because it is like one I like to use for finals as well. So it could be anything,
Yeah,
like
I've seen that.
motivational speeches. Someone you get a club legend or someone to come in to have a bit of a chat for like 2 minutes on what it means to pull on your club Guernsey. It could be like Anzac Day. You get an Anzac Day, a past player, an old digger or someone like that comes in and has a chat about what it means to like play for your mates, and try relate it to like being in battle, like you're out there to protect your mates, you're out there to support each other. So little things like that are always important. So what I'll get you to do now, just in your group, just dot point down just some little rituals that you potentially have. Anything that you like to do pre-game.
As a group?
Yeah, as a group, just have a little bit of a discussion and see what you can come up with. I want you to, the focuses I want you to be around like physical preparation and also mental preparation. So physical preparation, physical warm-up, stretching, breathing, relaxation techniques, and then the mental side of it is visualization, positive self-talk, mindfulness, meditation, and things like that as well. I had a discussion with my youngest daughter. She had her first Sapsasa trial on Wednesday night, and she was a bit scared because, like, obviously it's the best girls in the Onkers Zone that are going out there. I said, like, she's a type of player that she crosses, as soon as she goes out there, she's so invested, like everything else just doesn't matter. Like, she just loves it that much. And she's like, what do you do, Dad, like mentally to prepare yourself? And I just said, I just go out there, I just get in the change room, and I'm just talking to myself positively. I'm going to dominate where to come in. I don't care if they're bigger, I don't care if they're smaller. I'm going to find their weakness, I'm going to exploit it, I'm going to dominate it. And that's how I talk to myself positively. Because I know at your age, it's so hard as well. Like, there's a star player in the other team, and then everyone's like, oh, such and such has got this guy. And then you see people just go, their heads drop straight away because they've got this player. And
But
it's
you kind
like,
of want that player because it makes it better
Yeah.
for you and you learn it and it actually
and the way I used to do it with my boys is this one player. We play structures and we play team first footy, and team beats I any day of the week. So if you, 100% mate. So how can I prepare myself mentally? Some people like to go and just sit in the corner. Like, I've had teammates in the past that don't talk to anyone. They go sit in the corner, and they're just there until they go out. Not really that much of a vocal. Don't really carry on. Just sit there, prepare. Other people have to have their 2 or 3 songs that they listen to fire them up. like it's a mental side of it. This song gets me going. What other things? Visualization is always key for me as well. Like I have to take the kick-ins. I'll take the kick-ins every week. So like I visualise just hit targets. So I'll go out there, pre-game warm-up. I stand in the box for a little bit and I visualise targets I'm heading on 45. Just pretending in my mind that I've hit that one low, flat and hard, and that's how I prepare. Like that's my mental side of the game as well. So do you have anything, you guys have a bit of a chat amongst yourselves? I'm sure you have a few things that you might even not recognise that you do this thing, but it's good to start to recognise it.
I just go like, we're gonna lose already, know.
Something that I need is I always have the footy in my hands before games. Like whether that's kicking or like ground balls, handballing. Yeah, just something I always have footy, or like
That's
just
what I do.
bouncing it. Yeah.
I always work on mine.
And then if someone takes the footy away from me, I'm just like heartbroken. I'm just like, why would you do that for me?
Yeah.
Like, why would you take it?
Like in between, like there's a game
Yeah.
before, like me and a teammate go out and kick.
Yeah.
Like start off like really small, and then like
Mm. I just said, this is what I usually do. If I find coaches and put back to change rooms and then I talk and catch up with my friends, I grab a footy and kick for a bit outside, then I warm up with my team, and then I continue kicking, doing ground balls and handballs, and then we have our team chat with everyone, and then we put music on, we vibe for a bit, and then we go outside and do our warm up again before we go. Yeah. But typically while I'm outside kicking or
I'm gonna get one each from you, like a physical and a mental thing that you might help prepare yourself, right? So not start with it. What's something physical that you use, mate?
Running, it's all about like
Warm up? Yeah. Warm up that? Yeah.
just getting a feel for footy before the game, whether that's just kicking it with a friend or just bounce against myself or handballing against the wall or something.
Yes.
Usually it's like getting strapped, preparing my body for the game.
And then you can prepare like physically, like you phone roll stretch.
Yeah, usually stretch.
Okay.
kind of bit of like everyone's, like
A combination.
getting there.
Everything.
Huh?
Bit of everything.
Yeah, like have feeling the footy.
Kick with some teammates.
Yeah, my mental one will probably be like I always like talk to the coach beforehand and like see where I am on the field and like kind of like go through like strategies and like if I have like any questions like depending on who we're playing and like have a look at who our viewers and stuff. Like kind of like have a feel of the game.
Always good. Liana?
Just like, just getting my energy up, like using music, or sometimes even when I'm like warming up outside before the game, I'll like suss out the routine a bit, just like see if I can see if I've got more strength or something like that. So that's what you're
Jess?
Yeah, I was probably gonna say same as you, listening to music,
Yeah.
mind space.
Yeah. Quiet space.
Like your
Oh, yeah,
mind
space,
is
yeah.
right, is a
Space.
space.
Positive mindset.
So this leads into what we're going to do next. So if you guys want to jump into session plan 6, so plan, conduct and review coaching programs. So AT6.
On the ground over there.
So these next 3 sessions that you're going to be conducting with your team, your lines, forward, mids and back, are all around tactics and structures, strategies, things like that you're going to use on the game day. So jump into AT6. Alright, think about, so Liana and Brookie, you're going to have to do forwards, and Jess and Locke's you're going to have to do defenders. Alright, so what are some strategies and tactics you want to use as a
Okay, yeah.
coaching programs?
They're making me walk all the way over there and get my laptop and every time.
So just have a chat together. What do you want your kickouts to look like? Okay, what do you want your midfield setup to look like, Liana and Brookie, and what do you want your forward setup? What are you trying to achieve as a forward group? You're having like 1 lead up target, 1 stay at home, or you're having 1 lead up, 2 crummers. Locks and Jess, are you looking to get inside 45 and hit the first target, get a handball received, create some overlap run from the back half? What do you look like at centre bounces and stoppages, Liana, around the ground? Are you having more presence at the front for forward handball run? You're having presence out the back for out the back handball and run from behind? Just anything like that. Positioning, how do you want your mids to position themselves? Do you want them to start behind, push under the foot? Yeah, do you want one defensive side winger, 1 attacking side winger?
Usually go defensive, I reckon.
Yeah.
To start the game off, both stay defensive, and then from there work it out. Like, see if you're winning taps, maybe have 1 stay attacking, 1 stay defensive.
Huge. If you're dominating ruck work, ruck tap, that's
Yeah, and
huge.
try to see which
Yeah.
way they turn to most. Like if during the ruck tap, they tend to go to the right side of it more often.
Yeah.
Get that one instead defensively.
Yeah.
And then 1 stay attacking.
Yeah. Always love it as a coach when your ruckman's winning
Yeah,
every
and
ruck tap, because you can do whatever you want there because you know that your ruckman's get the first hands to it every time, so you can
Yeah.
set up accordingly. You can go super attacking as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, think about a few of those things together. We've got about 25 minutes until we're going to go out and execute some of these. So when we head
Wait,
outside,
are we doing how long?
20 minutes.
Are we doing VSN and AFL nights?
Yeah, so you'll incorporate this into the AFL Lions game for the first probably 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then we can just go from there. Like if you want to adjust anything or try anything different as well, we can always have a look at that as well. But yeah, we'll head out in about 15 minutes and we'll just set up the oval. So we'll get the goals set up, second set of goals, and we'll run a boundary about 10 metres in. I've actually also got these for you as well, if you want to use these to draw up, if you feel like you want to have a bit of a mess around on this piece of paper about how potentially you could set up some structures as well.
Okay, so we're going. We're gonna go.
Yeah, really, really valid input, really good input, guys.
Okay, something about me is when I'm a wing, instead of setting up like directly on the line, I like to set up further out, like towards the boundary more.
So you can
So
wait.
then because that wing will just always go straight to the centre, and for winning majority of those rock taps, I know my teammates are better and they always know I'm free to the side.
Yeah.
So instead of like trying to rotate the whole body to face out forward, they will just
Yeah.
rotate to the side, kick it out to me, and I'm on the run.
Yeah.
I'm out of there.
So that's awesome, Liana. So that incorporates a lot of like the main elements that we discussed, like your spatial awareness, your communication, like your positioning. And the best teams in the competition are the ones that are all connected. They all know what each other are doing. The ones that are just a rabble or like they've got no structures, they don't communicate with each other. You probably hear them, they argue with each other on the football field. They're not connected at all. You don't want to be that team. You want to be the team that's well connected. Everyone knows what everyone's doing.
That's why I'm typically my team's go-to person
Yeah.
for wing is I position myself very well.
Yeah.
Like I don't usually get like lagging me. But even when it comes towards me, I'll try to push back a bit as an
Yeah.
extra option out of contest,
Yeah.
out of contest,
So good.
rather than like crowd it up and then
Yeah.
everyone's getting tackled,
Yeah.
running the ground, and I'm like, oh, this is useless. We're not
Yeah.
going anywhere. Like I'd always do that extra option out. So if my teammate gets tackled, they know I'm up. Like,
You're the option.
just
Yeah.
pass the handball.
Good. Always talk about as well, like just not being drawn into the bubble.
Yeah.
Stay outside the bubble so you can, and the handball receive the outside runners, which is your strength is your run and carry. You
Yeah.
run the lines so well that you need to be that release option. You need to be the one hanging out.
I
That's
kind of
your
messed
strength.
that up the other
Yeah.
day when I fumbled the ball not once, twice.
That happens though. That's part of footy sometimes. It just
Yeah, but I was just
Just
fortunate
not-
that there was
it's
no
not
one
your
around
basic
me.
need. Yeah.
I was like, turned around and I was like, oh crap, the ball. Turned around and I'm like, where's all the other players? I basically walked over to the ball, picked it up as fast as I could and just kept running.
Yeah.
I was like, hello?
Always use your weapons as well.
Yeah.
Alright guys, I'll give you 10 minutes and then we'll go from there.
Thanks for watching. Bye. Now where?